Welcome back, everyone. So many of us are home a little more than we're used to, and all that time inside is impacting our households. Here with how to manage the areas that are getting a lot of extra use is founder of Clean My Space, Melissa Maker. Welcome, Melissa.
Thank you. So glad to be here with you too.
We're happy to have you because I'm certainly noticing, and I can't be the only one, a lot of things around my house that never kind of bothered me before. But now they're just like everywhere I look, I'm seeing things that I want to take care of, seeing things that feels like I just cleaned them up 2 hours ago and it's already dusty again. So how is the shift of being inside so much more than usual affecting our homes?
Okay, well, you hit the nail on the head. Totally, everyone can relate. We're at home for the 40 hours a week that we normally be at work, and then multiply that by however many people live in the house with us. It's a lot of extra cleaning that we need to do to maintain. We're, doing more dishes, more laundry. Our bodies are shedding more dead skin cells, so that leads to more dust. We're also noticing a lot more. So if you look up, you look down, you look at a baseboard, you're on your computer, you kind of notice things. That's happening. So the idea here is to think about some habits that we can bring into our daily lives, not only to maintain things on a daily basis, but on a weekly basis. And that will kind of help make things feel more sane and manageable. And then ideally to take that into, whatever the new normal looks like.
How often would you say we should schedule this tidying up?
Okay, so I'm glad you made that distinction, Mel. Tidying and cleaning are two different things. Tidying we have to do, especially now, we have to do it daily. Because if you think about it, we have no boundaries if we're not tidying. We're working, playing, educating, and living in the same house. So if we have these boundaried spaces that we work in or the kids play in, and then they're tidied at the end of each day, and I'm not talking like an hour, I'm talking like put 5 minutes on the clock, tidy, put things away, you will have those boundaries back, and your house will feel more functional and like a place you can really relax and enjoy when you're not using it for the other purposes.
Let's start with some of the stuff that a lot of people are noticing. And a big one that I hear from so many friends and family is that their washing machine and dryer, they're getting a workout. Like they're getting a bigger workout than usual. So is there something that we should be doing to offset the added use?
Yeah, that's a great question. The biggest issue with your washing machine is odor coming from a detergent buildup. And that's because we're using it more. And a lot of us aren't using the right amount of detergent. So what I'm doing here is I'm using a machine cleaning tablet. This also comes in a liquid format. I'm putting this in, my machine is empty. I'm just popping the tablet right in the drum, closing it, and I'm going to set the machine to the tub clean cycle. Now, if your machine doesn't have this, you can just use a regular cycle and the hot water setting on your machine, let it run. And when it's done, you're going to give the drum a quick wipe down, and that will clean your washing machine. And then for your dryer, you want to make sure that your dryer is effective, meaning it dries your clothes quickly. And if your lint trap is full and the slot that your lint trap sits in is full, you're going to have trouble drying your clothes effectively. So obviously clean your lint trap, but you can even use the crevice tool on a vacuum to clean the hard parts of your lint trap that you can't otherwise clean. And then the little slot where your lint trap sits, you can use the crevice tool to clean that as well. And that's just going to help things work much more efficiently.
Okay, let's move on to another thing, which is what I'm noticing all the time, especially as the weather has gotten so much nicer. It is the windows. Spring cleaning of the windows. What do we need to know?
Okay, so you're right. If you're working by a window, and who doesn't want to work by a window, you might notice it's quite dirty. My favorite way to clean a window, and you guys know I don't like cleaning so much, so me actually saying that is a big deal. Get yourself a double-sided squeegee. You'll see it sitting there beside me, and I'm filling a big rectangular container with water, a cup of white vinegar, and a couple squirts of dish soap. Then I'm using the padded side of this squeegee to wipe it down. And this takes under a minute for a large window. Then I'll flip it over and I'll use the rubber-sided tip to follow that exact same pattern. I'm doing that in low light as well, so we don't get any streaks. This takes under a minute. It's a really high impact job, and it's also oddly satisfying.
Doing that part, I really want to do it.
It's like,
I might do it right after this. Yeah.
When you're stressed out, go and clean your windows.
Go and clean the windows. Well, I think a lot of us are trying to, come up with a way to tackle bigger jobs. At our house, we actually came up with a master list. And if you, of sort of bigger jobs that we never really get to. And the idea is that if once you complete the job, you get to sign your name. Sort of feels like we're in kindergarten, you know? You get to check off your name and you get a point. But I would like to hear maybe some sounder advice on attempting to take on bigger tasks around the house right now.
Okay, actually, I'm really impressed with your system. That's way better than what I have going on. But seriously, here's what's working for us. I find what gets scheduled gets done. So I can have a list going for days and I won't care about it. But if I verbally commit to something, like I will tell my husband, like I'll verbally commit to him, I need 15 minutes, I'm going to clean the bathroom right before dinner. Then I've said it, I've stated it to the universe, and I have to follow through. And it doesn't have to be an hour-long marathon. I just like to give little chunks of time. But again, if you say it, it's going to get done.
The bathroom, I think a lot of us put that one off. Like we do the sink and the toilet every week. But I mean, when it comes to the nooks and the crannies and the tub and the, what do you call that? The cabinet, and so much stuff in there. How do you start? Where do you start?
Well, what's interesting about a bathroom is there's a lot of stuff in a really tiny space. So clutter can be a big issue in a bathroom. And so before you clean it, you want to declutter. And what I like to do is I check all of my products. And I have to be honest with myself. Despite how much money I've spent on them, I've got to say, am I using it? Do I love it? If not, I have to put it aside. And if it hasn't expired and it's still usable, if it doesn't have a weird odor, or if the color hasn't changed, then I can put it aside, maybe give to a friend or family member, or dispose safely. The same thing goes for medication. I want to be clear, you can't throw your medication in the garbage. Anything that's expired, you've got to bag up and take to the pharmacist for safe disposal. And then once you've decluttered, at that point is when you can actually clean. And I like to use those little storage bins to organize my drawers and make things a lot easier. But again, when there's less clutter, like look at my desk, it's so much easier to clean a space when there's less clutter. And the same holds true for bathrooms.
Okay, let's move on to the couch. For a lot of people, certainly my family, it is getting used and used and used, right? Like you can see our butt dents, like who sits where on the regular. So how do we take care of the couch that's really been doing so much taking care of us?
Yeah, the biggest thing is, a lot of crumbs and dead skin cells and shedding from pets, that all ends up on the couch. So what I'm doing here is I'm removing the foundation. And guys, I did not stage this. This is real life. That is really what goes on under my couch. And I show you this because it's true. Like we have to vacuum under here. This stuff contributes to poor air quality. So if you have that building up under your sofa and you're sitting there and you suffer from allergies or asthma, that's going to affect the way you breathe. It's also going to affect the smell of the sofa, and it can also lead to staining. Now, a big tip I have, if you do a lot of living on the couch, just throw an old blanket down, use it as a drop cloth, and then throw that in the washing machine. And that actually protects your couch from the amount of wear and tear it's getting right now.
I have to say, I feel like there's a lot more hair building up around our place, Melissa. And I don't want to point fingers, but it is beard hair, so Simon.
But you're not pointing fingers.
I'm not pointing fingers at all. And it does feel like, honestly, like I'm just looking this is a dining room / library, and I'm looking over here and I can see the dust being illuminated by the window. And I feel like I dusted that 5 days ago. How is this possible? So what's the most effective way, I guess, to keep dust, and residue and hair from our floors and keep everything clean?
Okay, so I'm going to explain something to you. And when I learned this, it changed my opinion on dust and floors and cleaning. So I hate vacuuming, really. It's my least favorite cleaning task. But when you see dust circulating around the house, floors, that's the last place that dust is going to land because, of gravity, dust falls to the floor last. It's going to land on your other surfaces. So if your floors are really dusty, everything else is really dusty. So with all of that being said, with us being home as much as we have been, in my house, we vacuum a few times a week. Like I got to tell you, that vacuum of mine gets a workout probably 3-4 times a week now. I also have a toddler and a cat. So I think the best thing to do, vacuum and then see how quickly the dust builds up. And that should be the indicator for your particular home about how frequently you need to be vacuuming.
I am going to go vacuum. Melissa, thank you so much for these tips. This has been incredible. And we can't wait to see you again soon.
Thanks so much.